Well, today we are in Kuusakoski, Finland. We're looking at the Kouvola River. It goes through the center of this little village. The paper mill is the economic center of the city. It's a beautiful day. This is a Sunday. It's absolutely a beautiful day. Very peaceful here in Kuusakoski. This is a kind of an outdoor theater and an indoor theater. Some of the parks. This is right next to the river, and this little walkway is really a bikeway. Everywhere there are bikes. This is the Kuusakoski flag, and I think the saying is the city is celebrating its 75th anniversary. There, maybe that's a little clearer, although it's kind of unusual, I'm sure, when this is played back, but it's a little bit easier to read the words. Another shot of the river. I almost wish this was smell-o-vision, because it's very, very clean smell. Even though there's a paper mill right downstream, it's really a very unpolluted area of Europe. Well, the clock says 10. That's 10 in the evening in Kuusakoski. But as you can see, it is anything but dark. This is that river. Paper mill. Well, the shadows are long. The sun is very close to the horizon, but it is still very bright. It's very similar to maybe 7 o'clock in the evening back home. It's an eerie kind of glow. Well, just to give you an idea of how bright the sun is, this is the bridge connecting Kuusakoski and Kouvola. Yes, the car lights are on, but car lights are always on. All cars in Finland and Sweden are on anytime the car is running. That's for safety. I want to remember that 75-year banner for Kuusakoski. It's very bright. Well, there are a few clouds. Giving an interesting framing to the sun behind the hotel where I'm staying. It's about 10:05 in the evening. Well, today for lunch, take a little lake cruise and canal cruise. This is an inland lake in Finland, and they have built a canal actually across the Russian border and into the Gulf of Finland, which is actually the Atlantic Ocean. So this voyage will go just part way through a couple of the locks. Very, very cloudy day, cool, probably about 15 C. On the lake is a gas-powered power plant. The gas actually comes from Russia. Well, the sun is trying to break through on our cruise. Small islands dot this lake. You can see the harbor that we left is in the background. The Finnish flag on the ship.
Industrial plant of Kuusakoski Oy. It is the biggest industrial employer in town by employing 3,000 persons in mechanical and chemical wood processing. Most of the production is exported all over the world. As a landmark on the area stands the chimney of the power plant, which is about 117 meters high. Behind the area, on the left, you can see the tower of the Church of Lauritsla Congregation, called the Light of Heaven. The church is...
This is the pulp mill that we visited this morning, and we were actually visiting the bark boiler. You see the pile of bark and the arch conveyor. And the building straight ahead is the bark-fed boiler system. There are 2 belt scales inside on 2 drag chain systems. The sun has finally come out on the lake. It's taken a while. It's interesting to see the floating logs. They are actually transported over this lake system. You can see a crane out in the lake moving the logs. I haven't seen floating log systems since when I was in Maine. Very efficient though. See the tugboat actually moving a large string of logs. This is a little better picture. You can see the long string of logs. They are roped and tied together, and the tugboat is pulling them through the lake. We are in the canal. As I mentioned, this is a canal that goes over to Russia, and in the Atlantic Ocean. The canal is 23 kilometers in Finland and 20 kilometers in Russia. This is the first lock. This cruise ship, being so short in time, will only go through 1 lock. There are 8 locks total, with a total height change of about 70 meters, or over 200 feet. Well, the ship is entering the very narrow lock. This is looking out the front of the ship. Well, this is the gate that will be closing behind the ship, and the water will be lowered. Very interesting gate system coming from below.
And the height of the curve here is about 18 meters. All the locks in the canal are alike with the height of curve that ranges from 5.5 to 30
you can see how the ship is dropping in relationship to the wall. That is the wet line where the water was when we first entered the canal. See with these marks how fast the water level is dropping. Very, very fast. Now this is a 13-meter drop in water. That's over 40 feet. It's taken maybe 5 minutes. You can see the lock gate is part steel, and then of course we're below the water level of the previous section where there's a concrete section. So we're starting to move through the lock. You can see the lock is well above the ship. And this is the lock section as we exit. Starting to close the downstream doors. Well, the boat has turned around, re-entering the lock. Lights are green for positioning inside. We'll raise again the 13 meters. Now the large gates are closing. On our way up the river. This is the upstream gate, the filling process. It's interesting, a lot of foam is created on this side from the filling process, maybe from some chemicals in the lake.